Have you ever noticed how some people suddenly disappear from everyone's life? No calls, no messages, no explanations. One day they are always there, and the next day they are completely gone. Most people think these individuals are cold, selfish, or dramatic. But psychology suggests something very different. Sometimes the people who cut everyone off are not heartless at all. They are simply people who have been hurt too many times. And the strange part is that when they finally walk away from everyone, they do not feel lonely. They feel peace. According to the United States Surgeon General, we are currently facing a loneliness epidemic. 1 in 4 adults report feeling completely isolated, disconnected, and alone. But you chose something different. You looked at your phone, saw certain names appear, and quietly decided, not today, not anymore. And here is the part nobody really talks about. You did not feel lonely. You did not feel broken. In fact, you may have never felt more peaceful. So when did this begin? When did you become the person who can walk away and not look back? Because the truth is, you were not always like this. There was a time when you were the reliable one, the friend who answered the phone at 2 in the morning, the family member who tried to keep everyone calm, the partner who absorbed everyone's problems like a sponge. Whenever something went wrong, people called you. And every single time, you showed up. You listened to the same complaints, gave the same advice, and watched people ignore it, only to return again with the same problems. Until one day, something inside you changed. You saw their name appear on your screen, and you simply did not answer. And something surprising happened. The world did not fall apart. Nothing terrible happened. It simply became quieter. That moment was not weakness. Your brain was doing exactly what it was designed to do. Psychologists have studied this response for years. One explanation comes from Dr. Stephen Porges and what is known as the polyvagal theory. According to this theory, your nervous system operates in different modes. One mode helps you connect with people, while another is designed specifically for protection. When someone has been emotionally drained too many times, when relationships constantly take more energy than they give, your brain eventually stops asking for permission. It flips a switch. You move out of social engagement mode and into what researchers call the dorsal vagal response. In simple terms, shutdown, withdrawal, and conservation. Not because you are broken, but because your nervous system is trying to protect your energy like it is a limited resource, because the truth is, it is. But this raises an even deeper question. Where did your brain learn that people could be exhausting or unsafe in the first place? For many people, the answer goes back much further than adulthood. Maybe you grew up constantly reading the emotional temperature of a room before you could even understand what emotions meant. You watched your parents' expressions the moment they walked through the door. You learned very early that someone's mood could change the entire atmosphere of the house. Family psychologist Murray Bowen described this pattern as emotional cutoff. It happens when someone learns that closeness often comes with an emotional cost. Love may exist, but unpredictability exists right beside it. So the mind adapts. You become extremely aware of tension. You learn to sense emotional shifts before anyone even says a word. And sometimes the safest place begins to feel like distance. As adults, that same survival pattern can appear whenever people get too close. And here is the important part. That pattern is not a flaw. It is a survival blueprint your younger self created. However, this is where things become complicated, because there is a real difference between protecting yourself and shutting everyone out. Not every form of cutting people off is the same. Research from the Centers for Disease Control shows that long-term social isolation can increase the risk of heart disease by about 29% and stroke by more than 30%. Human connection still matters. But there is something people rarely mention. Being surrounded by the wrong people can be just as damaging as being alone. So how do you tell the difference? Think about this. Walls block everyone. They keep out the good, the bad, and the uncertain. They are built from fear. Boundaries, on the other hand, are selective. They are built from awareness. If you cut someone off and immediately felt relief, that tells you something important. If distance brought you peace instead of anxiety, that tells you something as well. That is not loneliness. That is protection. The real question is not whether you should let people into your life. The real question is who actually deserves access to your peace. And deep down, you probably already know the answer, because people who cut others off rarely do it randomly. In fact, they often become extremely skilled at noticing patterns. You notice the friend who only calls when they need something. You recognize the family member whose kindness always comes with conditions. You see the person who showers you with attention one week and disappears the next. Your brain connects those patterns. And science actually supports this. A study published in Nature Neuroscience found that people who experienced emotional stress early in life often develop stronger activity in the brain areas responsible for detecting threats. In other words, their brain becomes very good at reading people. Researchers at the University of Iowa also discovered that the frontal lobe, the part of the brain responsible for complex social decisions, tends to work harder in individuals with similar backgrounds. So no, you are not paranoid, and you are not too sensitive. You have simply developed a powerful internal radar for human behavior. Years of experience have trained your brain to recognize patterns quickly, and when that internal system tells you that someone will drain your energy, you have learned to listen. So maybe the real word for what you are experiencing is not loneliness at all. Society often labels people like this as isolated, antisocial, or withdrawn, but those labels assume something is missing. There is another word that may describe it better: solitude. Loneliness is the absence of connection you want. Solitude is the presence of peace you choose. You are not sitting alone wishing someone would call. You are sitting in a quiet space where your mind can finally breathe. Your phone is silent, and instead of feeling rejected, you feel relief. Some people may say that you are running away from others, but perhaps the truth is the opposite. Perhaps you are running toward something better, toward calm, toward clarity, toward a version of yourself that can only exist outside chaos. That is not isolation. That is sanctuary. And if you are watching this and wondering whether something is wrong with you, hear this clearly. There is nothing wrong with you. You are not cold, you are not heartless, and you are not incapable of love. You are simply someone who learned, often the hard way, that not everyone deserves unlimited access to your energy. And instead of letting those experiences make you bitter, you chose to protect your peace and build a life that feels calmer instead of chaotic. That is not weakness. It is one of the strongest decisions a person can make. In fact, Harvard's famous 75-year study on happiness found that the quality of our relationships matters far more than the number of them. So if your circle is small but filled with people who truly respect you and understand you, you are not doing life wrong. You might actually be doing it exactly right. And if this message felt like something you needed to hear today, you are not alone. Leave a comment below. I read every single one. And remember one thing: protect your peace.